I didn't necessarily have any interest in watching Superman, but I'm currently working my way through all of John Ratzenberger's films, and I realised Superman was on Now TV, and I currently have a Now TV subscription, so I figured I might as well watch it now. And aside from it being far longer than I would have liked, it actually wasn't too bad. I will point out that John Ratzenberger, it's a very early role for John Ratzenberger. He plays a character called First Controller. He's not in it a tremendous amount, but that didn't bother me too much. This was released in 1978. It's directed by Richard Donner. And we have a screenplay by Mario Puzo, David Newman, Leslie Newman, and Robert Benton. And of course, we have Christopher Reeve as Superman. We also have Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor and Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. And I won't go into a tremendous amount of detail about this. What I will say is that if you are completely new to Superman, I feel like this would be a really good introduction. I feel like this explains everything really well. And while I still don't excuse the over 2-hour length, I do feel like if you are new to Superman, it is a really good starting point. We do have a lot of information here. And Superman has to try and stop Lex Luthor, who is planning on shooting some missiles and destroying part of the Earth. And I don't want to go into too much more detail than that, but that is the basic premise. And again, aside from the long length, the narrative actually worked really well. I think everything flowed really well. Yes, it was quite slow a lot of the time, but it still made a lot of sense. Everything still went from A to B at a pretty steady rate. We did have scenes where I felt like they could have been removed. I didn't think they were adding anything, but in general, most scenes felt like they had a place there. With regards to the actual characters, Superman or Clark Kent is certainly a very likable protagonist. I think that Christopher Reeve's performance is really great. Absolutely no questions there. And Marlon Brando as Jor-El, absolutely brilliant. So watching the performances was really great. So even when the scenes were quite slow, the narrative was quite slow, I still enjoyed watching the characters and watching the actors perform. The special effects are actually not too bad for the 1970s, not too bad at all, and that's something that I kind of enjoyed as well. I do have a soft spot for rough around the edges special effects because it's rather charming. We have some great music, really fantastic music in this. The Superman costume as well, I quite liked. Obviously it has a very classic design and I think that works very well. I will be watching Superman 2 for the very basic reason that John Ratzenberger is also in that. Would I have watched it otherwise? No, I don't think I would have done. Not because this wasn't very good as a film, because it was, but because I feel like this is enough Superman for me for quite a while. However, I do want to watch the next one while I have the Now TV subscription, and I don't mind it. I'm not dreading watching it. I don't know how long the second one is. It's apparently marginally shorter than this one, so we'll see how that goes. Sequels are rarely as good, but I've not read anything about it, so I don't know what it's like. But with this one, yes, it's far too long in my opinion, but at the same time, it gives a good introduction to Superman. I think Christopher Reeve did a really great job with the character. The costume's brilliant, the music's great. The narrative is interesting enough, albeit a little slow at times, so I didn't mind it. I can't imagine I would ever watch it again. At least not in its entirety. But at the same time, I'm glad that I can now say that I've seen it. As a John Ratzenberger fan, it was nice to see, very briefly, an early role for Ratzenberger. Obviously, I can't really discuss too much about how this compares to other Superman films, as I have seen some, but I wouldn't consider myself to be a huge Superman fan. So if you are a big Superman fan, I'd love to know what you think of this. Or indeed, if like me, you're watching it for any other reason than an interest in Superman, then definitely let me know what you think of it. I probably would never watch it again, but as a one-time watch, aside from the length, I thought it was not too bad.